Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just getting set up here. Oh, let's see. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just getting set up here. Things. Oh, let's see. Hey guys, how's it going? How's it going? Can you hear me okay? Okay. Let's see. Hey guys, how's it going? How's it going? Can you hear me okay? Let me get this a little closer. Okay. There we go. Is that better? How's it going? Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Get this a little closer. This is kind of, I messed up my setup a little bit, so. How's it going? Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Hey, how's it going? This a little closer. This is kind of, I messed up my setup a little bit, so. How's it going? Can you hear me okay? Like 20. Hey, how's it going? Oh crap. This is kind of, Okay, okay. Is that better now? No more echo? I always forget to turn that off. Oh geez. Okay. Is that better? Better? All right. Come back, chat. There we go. Better? Not echoey? Okay. All right. Let's see. So how's everybody doing? Everybody got 4R8 installed and rocking? I haven't had enough time to mess with it, so I'm kind of sad actually. I wish I had a little more time. I will next week. I've been tying up some freelance work, and then I'll be able to mess with it some more. And I'm updating my user interface and brushes to match the 4R8 stuff. So yeah, let's see. So just so you know, this stream today is all about ZBrushCore. So it's not the continuation of the girl. This is a break from the girl that I've been working on, and this is ZBrushCore. So if you're looking for the continuation of the girl, that's going to be next Sunday. So if you're interested in ZBrushCore, and I guess some of the 4R8 stuff is in here, but not too much. So it's up to you, whatever you want to see. I was thinking about just making a hand, like a very stylized hand. I found a really cool image of a hand, and I just kind of wanted to go over some more core stuff and just kind of block out how I would do a stylized hand. So if you guys are interested in that, that's what I got going on today. Let me get this going up. Let's see. Yeah, all right. So I'm not going to pull the image in here. I only have one screen tonight because I got a new system, and I'm using the second monitor over on my new system for a minute until my new monitor shows up. So I only have my Cintiq today, so I'm not looking at, you know, chat somewhere else. So this is, and my new machine is having a tough time, so I need to get that fixed. I don't know what's going on with that. So anyway, let's get rocking on a hand. So has ZBrushCore replaced Sculptress? It's not really in the same category. Sculptress is more of a dynamic subdivisions. So as you're sculpting, it's adding triangles as you're working, and it has a completely different interface. Some of the controls are the same, but that's where it ends. ZBrushCore is basically the core functionality of ZBrush. That's why they call it ZBrushCore. So it's basically a light version of ZBrush 4R8, and it's a very, very nice price. So it's just kind of the next step after Sculptress, I guess you would say. Hey, how's it going? Welcome from Australia. Wow, g'day. All right, so I'm looking over here now to see chat. This is why if you're wondering why I'm looking over here instead of over here, yeah, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to, I want to block in a cartoon hand. I want to make a cartoon hand. So is that Does that sound fair to you guys? I'm going to turn perspective off by pushing P, and I'm going to turn the floor off right here. And you can see it gives you a nice variety of brushes down here. Is my voice low? Is it? I wish I could turn it up. It's maxed out on my broadcaster, so I don't know how to increase my volume. Let me see. Tell me if that's any better. So, hey, how's it going? Welcome, you guys. Oh, thanks. Yep, my course, I'm going to be releasing it again, opening it up fairly soon, within the next couple months. So, voice is okay? Okay, and you guys are okay with sculpting out of hand? Okay. So basically, I don't want to start with a round shape, I want to start with a square shape. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to use one of these insert multi-mesh primitives, and I'm going to select this cube. And I'm basically going to replace this. Let me see if this has... Let me see if there's a cube. Oh, there's this cube. Let's check it out. Okay. Yeah, this one will work. Okay, so I'm just basically going to select this default cube. This project right here, Cube ZPR that ships with ZBrushCore. I'm just going to start with that. Yeah, you know what? That's the only reason I actually use perspective, is to show some distortion, because ZBrush doesn't have necessarily a quote-unquote real viewport. It's basically, it literally is skewing your model. So it's not going to match any sort of camera. You can get it close. And I usually turn my perspective to 20. I think the default is, let's see, grid size, this angle of view right here. So if you go under draw and you find angle of view, the default is 50. So let's turn perspective on. So here's perspective. And if I change it to 20, it's more like a 35mm camera angle. So it's not so skewed, but it's not really enough to, you don't want to sculpt this way because it'll throw off your symmetry and all sorts of stuff. So what I usually do is I turn off perspective, and I work in orthographic a lot of the time. And then if I want to see it, or if I want to present it, I'll turn perspective back on if I'm trying to do things like that. So, okay. Oh, hey, welcome to the stream. Let's see, Alejandra, what, your name's too long, I don't know. But welcome, man. Start with a cube and not a sphere. Yes, yes, isn't that crazy? The reason why, I wish I could show you this, this hand here. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm going to go into texture, into import, go to my desktop, and I'll open this up. You can see it. It's a really fun hand. Okay, can you guys see that now? So this doesn't have what's called spotlight. ZBrushCore does not have spotlight, but at least I can get it here and kind of show you the hand I'm working on. And you can see how the, yeah, it's going to go away if I show it to you. But you can see how the palm is quite square. I could take a sphere and kind of jam it into a square, but it's so square that I'm just going to start with a cube. So let's see. Oh, no. Let's see. You can change it. Yeah. Java, are you talking about perspective? Yeah, it's completely up to you if you want to use it too. Where can you buy my character workshop? Just get on my newsletter over to 3dcharacterworkshop.com. Just get on my newsletter and you will be notified when it will open up again. So just get on there. I will be opening it up in the next couple months, I think. I just need to tie up a few loose ends and it will be available again. Yeah, okay. Sculptress is actually great. I have a free Sculptress tutorial on YouTube. If you just look up Shane Olson Sculptress, you can see it. It's quite old and outdated, but Sculptress hasn't changed since I made that tutorial, so, you know, feel free to check it out. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make this cube thin because, you know, hands are not thick, they're thin. So I'm just going to turn on the floor just to see kind of where I'm at. And then I want to use this new manipulator. This new manipulator is also in ZBrush 4R8, and I have yet to get used to it, honestly. I'm still trying to get used to it. So but I'm loving it so far. And I can just grab this cube right here and scale it down in Z, which is great. Because I'm gonna make the hand facing upwards instead of sideways or down. So Sculptress kind of became Dynamesh. I think the programmer that made Sculptress, they hired him and he was kind of involved in the programming of Dynamesh. But it's not quite the same because Sculptress, when it decimates into triangles, and Dynamesh decimates into quads mostly. It has some triangles around the diagonals, but for the most part it remains quad. So it's really pretty cool. So I don't know what Quadro is. Oh, Tux Extreme, thank you. Awesome, yeah, great. I'd love to see it. I might have seen it already. I can't recall, but okay. So now that we have this cube, I want to make one finger first, and then we'll duplicate it across. Okay, so I'm going to get the handy dandy insert mesh brush down here, grab a sphere. Here's the sphere. And I'm going to turn symmetry off. Let's see. Oh, it's got subdivision levels. In order to use an IMM brush, you need to not have subdivision levels. So what I'm going to do is turn the subdivision levels all the way down to the lowest level and hit delete higher. So then, and I just hit Shift F to turn on wireframe. Now you can see it. And it's got this matte cat gray. I'm going to change it to skin shade 4 because that's just brighter. I like it more. I almost always work with skin shade 4 unless I'm polishing the surface of stuff. Then I will use some custom materials that this guy named ZBrush made. If you want to look him up, he makes a great eye material called ZBrush Eye Reflection, I think it's called, and then ZBrush Eye Gray, ZBrush Gray and ZBrush Clay. All of those I use a lot. So if you want to check those out, they're fantastic. So I'm going to draw this out. Actually, if I draw this out, you can see if I hold down Shift, it snaps. And I can kind of mess with it a little bit after I hold down Shift, and it changes its shape if I push back in. See that? Now in regular ZBrush, I'm actually used to that shape getting thinner as I pull it out. So let's see. I mailed the guy who made it before he was acquired. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm reading this question for you. Like the idea behind Sculptress. I have two questions. Could it work with quads instead of tris? And shouldn't the masking protect the masted area instead of the drawing modification? You would think, I think I know what you're asking, but in ZBrush, if you do mask it off, it does not affect, it doesn't affect the masked area. So I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. So anyway, we're just going to draw this in here, and we're going to turn on this manipulator again, and then we're going to stretch it out long, and then grab this and move it, and then scale it. This center box scales on all axes, which is great. And I want to make this finger kind of taper outward. Normally fingers taper kind of inward as they go down towards the end. They start thicker and go to thin. So that's kind of what I want to do. And what I'll do with that is, let's see what we have here. Okay. So what I want to do with that is just kind of thin it out. And I'll just do that with my move brush. Actually, I want to move it more into place over here. And then you can use inflate on a very low setting to inflate the tip here. So it kind of tapers out. and then use shift to smooth it and taper it down at the bottom. So that's kind of the shape I'm looking for. And I want it a little longer and thinner. Let's see. Right. Yes, Danimalism, that's correct. Oh, hey Blance, how you doing? Welcome, and thank you very much. I had a great Father's Day. We had a squirt gun fight today because it was a perfect day to have a squirt gun fight in the middle of summer. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm going to show you how to duplicate an object here. I'm not going to make the second knuckle. I'm just going to make that knuckle as part of this first one. So I could make it be 2 parts. I'm trying to decide if I want to do that or not, or if I'm just going to leave it like this. But I think I'm just going to leave it. And then what you can do is hold down Control, and then just grab the move, and then it will duplicate that object. It's pretty nice. But I think I have my fingers too big, so I'm going to scale it down in this direction and a little more in this direction. Make them a little thinner, and then inflate the end so it's not so skinny. Something like that, and then bury it into the hand a little more. So yeah, okay. Then we'll duplicate it again. And we want to do 4 times. Now this is kind of tricky because it goes against all the rules of making a hand and, you know, keeping the arcs, because this hand is so square that we're going to have to introduce the arcs in after the fact. So we're going to do that, but for now we're just going to be straight. Okay. So one thing I didn't do when I did that first finger, and I'm going to rewind, is I want to make a polygroup out of every new finger, because if you duplicate a finger like this, it makes it the exact same polygroup as whatever you duplicated it from. Okay, so I'm going to reverse this. Actually, I'm going to redo the duplication. It's going to make it purple. And then what I do is I invert the mask. So I hold down Control and tap on the background. So it inverted the mask. The only thing that's masked now is the finger. If I hit Control W, it's going to put that new finger in its own masking group. But now it is unmasked, so I need to mask it again. So I just hold down Control and tap on that finger again. And then, let's see. I'm just going to move this manipulator. If you want to go back to the old transpose tool, you can push Y, and it will go back and forth. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get this new manipulator into the position that I want it in, because I'm used to drawing this transpose tool out over and over and over again to get it to where I want it to be. So I just need to get my head into that space. So, okay, for now, I'm going to switch back, Control, duplicate, and then invert the mask, hit Control W again, and then do the same thing. So this is how you do it with the transpose tool. You just hold down Control on this little white circle and drag, and it'll duplicate it again. Then invert, Control W. Now I have 4 fingers in all different polygroups. So now I can grab this hand down here and just move it and then stretch it out a little bit just to match. So it's a little wider than it is tall. So let's see. Did you do the beta test for R8 as well? I did not do the beta test. I was not in that. So I kind of wish I was, but my life was crazy at the time, so I opted out of that. Let's see. You hold Alt before you click a handle to reposition the gizmo. Okay, I gotta try it. I gotta try that. Let's see. Oh, I see. So that'll just line up to the surface, just like the transpose tool. So but what if I want to drag? What if I want to align it to the camera? So, for example, if I click here and I drag off of an object, now it's the same plane as the camera. Do you know how? I guess I just hit home after that, right? Still trying to get used to that. So, okay, home pops it down there. Unmasked mesh. Oh, unmasked mesh center. Okay, that's awesome. So this little like Google Maps icon looking thing, it centers that object in the center of the unmasked area. That's pretty sweet. Let's see, reset mesh orientation, and then home. Okay, so I think if I hold down Control, let's see. Oh, the white parts are aligned, right. So like this is aligned to the camera, like this white ring, and then these corners are aligned to the camera, right? Okay, cool. Well, thanks, man. I'm learning too. Don't listen to me. Okay. So I want to, let's see, can you duplicate? Yeah, you can. Awesome. So you don't have to grab the move. You can grab these white corners while you're holding down Control, and that will also duplicate. That's awesome. Oh, I need to mask it again. And then rotate it to make a thumb. I'm probably going to use the camera more than the regular. Okay. Now I want to manipulate each one of these so I can get some more space in between them, because I want them to be crazier. Let's see. I'm going to manipulate each one. Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I just need to learn it more for sure. So if you hold down Alt, you can move this gizmo anywhere you want without affecting the object. So basically I wanted to turn it so it's aimed down the axis of the finger more, because I want to scale it. So, and I also want to scale it from a point down here so it gets longer. So I'm going to do this. Ooh. Especially for people coming from the box modeling world, you know, that are used to gizmos and like in Maya and Max. They want it. I want it. Let's see, center that. Move it down here, rotate it a little bit, and then scale it. There we go. I'm getting used to it. Gizmos are awesome. Yes, very much so. So let's see. Yeah, there wasn't supposed to be a 4R8, but then they decided to make Core. And Core, there aren't very many programmers at Pixelogic. And the ones that are there are absolute geniuses, and they spend all their time on whatever current project they're working on, and they decided to make Core, which is this. So 5 got a little bit on the back burner. Just a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to inflate these fingertips a little bit. Sorry, I'm going slow because I'm kind of talking at the same time as usual. Okay, rotate. Okay, with transpose I was spending up time fixing parts of my mesh. Oh yeah. That's a really good point. Okay. I just want to really exaggerate the tips of these fingers. And I also want them to flow kind of up the side of the hand and out. So I want this edge of this finger to line up with the edge of the hand as much as possible. Auto collapse was just kind of like folders. Oh, right. While everybody's learning Gizmo with R8, I keep learning transpose. There's nothing wrong with that. Transpose is great. It's great. It's, yeah, I've used it for the last, gosh, 6 years, you know. So it's actually harder for me to get my head around this new Gizmo than around the transpose tool. At the beginning, it was more difficult because I was coming from Maya. You know, I'm like, well, where's the thing to do the edits with? You know, how do I just move this thing in space? Well, you have to draw this line out and then move. Yeah, it's kind of a pain if you're not used to it, you know. So one thing with the auto, I think you're talking about this, right? So, well, it's not doing it. Not in Core, I guess. So are you talking about when one menu opens, the other one closes? I actually like them to stay open. And then if you do have that auto collapse on and you don't like it, you can hold down Shift and it will keep both of the menus open even if you have auto collapse on by default. So that's kind of a trick. And sorry if I'm kind of out of it a little bit today. I just barely got home from my dad's house. So I'm kind of like a little out of it. This is pretty fun. So I'm also going to do the same thing with the pinky. I want it to be kind of just right on that edge. I made it a little too inflated here. Yeah, transpose is still there. So transpose, if you just want to go back and forth, all it is you just hit Y, just the hotkey Y, and it will go back and forth. So if you get stuck and you need the transpose line, just hit Y and you can draw it again. So not a big deal. So what's funny about this hand is the arm comes off of the side of the box, which is pretty crazy, but it's fun. So, oh, sorry, my eyes are bugging today. My dad lives up in the mountains, and there's lots of pollen and stuff, and allergies and whatever. And I think it bugs my eyes when I go up there. Okay. And the light probably doesn't help. Wash your face with coffee. That'll wake you up. I did have coffee ice cream. That was good. Okay, I'm liking where this is going here. And then this hand, this thumb is kind of like this. Very cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to block out the wrist, and the wrist comes out of the hand over here. Super cool. So let's see if you can see the texture. I'll hover over it again. You see the wrist coming off the side there? It's way stylized. I love it. Okay, and then I also want to grow the knuckles through the top of the hand. So this is going to be the top, and I want the knuckles to kind of go and show up on the top of this block. Rum, raisin, and coffee. Man, you're making me hungry. That sounds good. Let's see, I'm going to inflate this through. Let's see. And then thumb, I don't know if I want to do maybe like that. It's pretty fun. I was thinking about doing an anime face because there's this anime head rough block out right there that comes with it. I think it comes with it. Yeah, because I did a fresh install. I was on the beta of ZBrushCore for a while. And I got some models that weren't part of, they were in beta, some of this stuff when they were working on these. So I can't remember what actually came with it for real and what didn't. So I should have cleared that stuff out a little bit. Okay. I'm going to pull this down just to kind of make the arc a little bit. There you go. Make it arc a little bit out. Just so it's still square, but it has some character to it, you know? There we go. That's looking funky. All right. And I'm just going to use an insert primitive cylinder. And just draw it right here. Let's see if that works. Okay, that worked. So with this cylinder, if you draw it out and then you leave it alone, it looks like this, right? Cylinder. But if you draw it out and push it back in, it makes a long, skinny cylinder like this. And then I'm just going to move it down its length. And it's funny because it kind of looks like a flag hand. It's going to look funny for a bit until we get it dynameshed in there. Okay, is it going to give us the finger in the end? No. Silly. All right, let's see. I might pose it though. I might pose it like, you know, we'll see how it goes. Whoops. Kind of fun. I'm actually gonna reverse this down here. So it flows into that wrist a little more, like, you know. Okay, now I think I'm just gonna dynamesh this as it is. I'm just gonna be done with that and just dynamesh it. Slap game. I want one on a big stick, right? To slap people with it. Pow. All right. Then I'm just going to kind of look for ways to stylize it a little more after I do it. Flawless victories. All right. Let's dynamesh this and see what it looks like. Yeah. Turned out pretty good. So it kept all the poly groups. And then I'm just going to go in here and start smoothing it out. This is one thing about Core. You can't, you can have a lot of fun just practicing and trying things, but when it comes to actual production, it's kind of a stretch to use Core. But you can make stuff to print. You can send stuff to print with Core. And I'd love to get a 3D printer soon and send something to print from Core. That'd be awesome. And then there's this this Claybuildup brush is great for kind of merging things together, like bridging a gap and then smoothing it down. See, I really want this kind of this, whoops. Let me change to select lasso here. So this shape right here, whew, I really want that. I asked you to answer your Core question. Cool. Yeah, can you use it in production? Yeah, not necessarily. It's more of a, you know, meet me, get to know me ZBrush. You know, do you like this? Do you want to actually purchase the full version of ZBrush after using this? And it's also a great hobbyist tool. Like I said, you could actually, if you got into it, you could actually make some miniature figures like for D&D or something in here and print them out. If you're a hobbyist that way, then you can get into it for not so much money and still, you know, produce something with it. It's not just, you know, it's not, it does some stuff, but you couldn't you couldn't make like a full game character with it, really. So it's just really fun. I'm trying to transition this wrist down into this arm here. You have the full version? Ah, cool. Yep, Core is just, yeah, it's just a light version, really. So this is his palm, and this is the top of the hand. So far, is what we have here. And what I want to do is take this Damien standard brush and kind of carve in a few little details. So I want to carve in one right here. Do we have lazy mouse? No. Okay. And then I want to carve in, let's see, this kind of this palm meat right here. And it's kind of wonky. Let's see. You can just undo and draw it a couple times, you know, till you like what you see. There we go. I'm just giving myself a guide because I want to inflate this. It's basically this meat right here. When I usually do this in real ZBrush, I will physically put like real like spheres. I'll take a sphere and I'll put it right here instead of blocking it out this way. But this is kind of fun to do as well. Okay, side question. It seems that I have unknowingly changed the setting in 4R8 and now my mouse pointer is not aligned with the click point. What did you do? Are you on a Cintiq or a Wacom tablet, or I wonder if you tried to do the realignment inside of the Wacom settings, because sometimes that'll get off. Or if you have two monitors and it's set across two monitors, sometimes that will make it get off. Yeah, reinitialize. Wavy mouse. Yeah, instead of lazy mouse, wavy mouse. For sure. Let's see. Oh, it does have lazy mouse. I just didn't have my lazy step very high. Let's see. Is it a lazy step? Oh, that's not the step. Hold on a second. Turn that down, radius up, maybe. There we go. So it's really interesting how this new lazy mouse, this is also in 4R8. See how it gives me the angle? See, it's at 45 right now, and it'll snap to that angle for as long as you hold it there. So I'm going to redraw these. And see how it's at a 0 angle right now, and I can pretty much draw a perfectly straight line without even trying. Boom. I like that. 13 HD. That's a good question. I had a 13-inch Cintiq, and it drove me bonkers. I'm going to just tell you that right off the bat, because there is not enough real estate on a 13-inch monitor to use ZBrush properly, if that makes sense. It works fantastic for storyboards or sketching and things like that, but for ZBrush in particular, it's a little small on real estate and it'll drive you crazy. I actually have a Cintiq Companion that does a full 1080 resolution, but the size of the screen is still small. And I mean, I'm getting old and I can't really see small anymore, but still, I would probably stick with the tablet and the bigger monitor unless, you know, you really want to get your, you know, your pen on the screen for some reason. So let me see if there's a snap here. Yeah, see this lazy snap? This will tell you, this kind of helps your, how often that'll snap. And since I don't want the snap on here while I draw these out, but I still want the lazy mouse, I'm going to turn that off. So now it shouldn't snap as much anymore. There we go. So yeah, that's just my personal opinion. I would save up and get at least a 21. A 21 is great. Let's see, I need to go. It's still making these little hiccups. See if I can get out of that. Lazy smooth. Let's turn that up a little bit and see what that'll do. Sorry, I'm just testing this out really fast to see what it does. Okay, I'm just going to do this real quick. Okay. It's way, oh yeah, of course it's way better than not using a tablet at all. But yeah, it's I would either do a tablet or a 21. That's just my opinion though. You know, there's a lot of people that like theirs and it works just fine. Okay. But don't just do me a favor and don't sculpt with a mouse. That's all. It's like sculpting with a brick. So it's either tablet or Cintiq or one of the knockoffs, you know, or nothing. Don't sculpt with a mouse. Does ZBrushCore have VDM brushes? No, I don't think so. Yeah, Sparky Face is right. The big boy Cintiq. You know, I saved up and I got, I had a 24 HD and I loved it because it matched the one that I had at work. And then I ended up trading that one in. I actually sold it to a friend of mine. And then I picked up, usually around Christmas, they have really good sales because the next version is coming out for the next year and they'll drop it like $300 or $400. So Christmas is the time to buy. And then you can pick them up for, you know, not full price. So I bought my 24 HD around Christmas, and then I bought my 27, the one I'm on now, around Christmas as well. Okay, I'm gonna Dynamish this again. Let's see, you can just drag on the background. The Cintiq Tablet? Like, what do you mean? Okay, let me see. 2 questions. Are you unable to use the subtool visibility across subtools? And is there a good way to curve bend something gradually without transpose alt? Anthony, are you talking about in Core or in ZBrush 4R8? Tell me the answer to that and I'll tell you the answer to your question. Okay, let's see. The XP Pen 22 is the same price. I don't know what XP Pen 22 is. That's cool. Let's see. What about the Cintiq Tablet? What are your thoughts? They have... Oh, the Cintiq Portable. I messed with the Cintiq Portable at CTN last year. And if you need a portable, that thing is awesome. It's really good. But once again, it's a small real estate area, you know. So, I mean, in my preference, I prefer the largest one I can get because, you know. So right now I have... my screen is really high resolution, so I can shove ZBrush kind of down in the corner and its resolution is 1080p. So you guys are only seeing my ZBrush that's shoved in the corner at 1080p. But I have a whole bunch of real estate all around my ZBrush that I can do other things with. But typically I'll stick to a 1080p resolution. That's what I've been sculpting inside of ZBrush with for a long time. And that seems to be like the perfect resolution that I like it to be at. So I'm going to come in here and pinch this. I kind of miss my pinch brush. You guys have messed with my pinch brush. So let's see. I'm using AG24. Oh yeah. I've heard those knockoffs are they're decent, you know. So 4R8. Okay, the little eye icon doesn't work properly for you after updating. The little eye icon. Okay. If you watch me next Sunday, I'll try and get into that and I'll look at it and see what you're talking about and see the little eye icon. But as far as the bending goes, okay, inside 4R8, I don't have it open right now or I'd show you, but use the new lattice deformer. When you use the when you use the new transpose method, this thing right here, inside 4R8, there's a little gear, and you can click on that and you can make it have a lattice deformer like in Maya or Max. It has really cool points that you can drag around, and you can edit curves really nice that way. And it's super, super cool. You have to, okay. The pens don't need batteries. That is true. Let's see, 4.8 is, let's see, because you have to navigate the tools folder to save the tools. Oh, you mean like, yeah, it's always been that way. So to save the tools, you have to go to save as. Yeah, that's been that way for as long as I can remember. Okay, let's get on with making this hand look a little better, shall we? So I'm going to try and pull this lump out of here. I'm just using the move tool to straighten this out, just to get a better flow through here. I'm doing more talking and less sculpting tonight, but that's good because you guys are asking questions. I don't believe Core has deformers. Yeah, like I said, it's Core is a fairly light version. It has Dynamesh. You know, it has layers and surface noise and sorts of things like that. But it doesn't have transpose master, so I can't. It isn't really meant for posing. It's kind of just meant for just having fun and sculpting, like traditional sculpting, you know. So I think I am going to. Oh, thanks. Just for clarification from your other question, it no longer allows you to make all subtools visible or hidden by clicking the. Oh, I see. You mean when you click the eye icon, it makes all the entire row appear and disappear. I bet they've moved that hotkey into something else. Try Control or Alt or something, maybe a combination of the keys to make it do that. The only reason they ever do that is if they change the functionality to something a little better. Yeah, it kind of drives me crazy too. So when they do things like that, but we'll have to ask. Maybe you can do maybe an Ask ZBrush and ask Joseph Drust what happened to that. But it's a very good question. Okay, let's see. Cintiq Companion. Okay. The files are compatible between Core and 4R8. They are not. Not as wait. Okay, I take that back. I'm not sure. I know they're not compatible between 4R7 and Core, but I believe they are compatible between 4R8. But I think you can only go from Core up to 4R8 and not back again. But I could be mistaken. I'd have to try that. I haven't tried it yet. Yeah, so Sparky just repeated that. So, yep. Okay, so, oh, it's Control plus Shift for the visibility. So they must have put something else on Control or on Shift instead. So they must have added some new functionality to that. Okay, I think I am going to mess with, I'm going to save this out really quick. Just call it hand. Is there anything that you guys specifically want to see in here? Like if you want to know how to do something, I'll see if I can do it. But I kind of wanted to make, just kind of fool around with this anime head a little bit. What time is it? All right. All right. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man. Control plus Shift plus click works. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So one thing with this putting eyeballs inside Core versus like 4R8 is I want to show you this. If I use this insert multi-mesh And I choose the sphere by pushing M and then dragging out some eyeballs. Okay, they start on the surface. If you go down to split, you can say split unmasked points. Because inside ZBrush it has split hidden, split by groups, but in Core it has split unmasked points and split masked points. ZBrush 4 or 8 also has those, but it also has the other ones as well. So, okay, make sure I'm on the eyeball. And I'm going to reset this back and then recess these eyes in. This is almost too easy, cheaty, because this head is kind of already where it needs to be. But that's okay. Let's see. Got it, Bolt. Have a good night. Yep, take care, man. When I render a large document in my perspective, and wax preview messes up a little bit. Is that, are you talking about in Core, Will Hughes? Let's see, did you work out how to use intersection Boolean in Core? Oh, intersection Boolean. I don't know if I did, but that's a good question. Let's do it. Hey T Marshall, how's it going, man? Am I liking 4R8 very, very much? I just haven't had enough time to play with it as much as I would like to. If you want to Boolean, you have to use Dynamesh. That is true. So, yeah, let's duplicate this eyeball, and we'll hide the other two. And then I'm going to duplicate it again. Now they're the same. And so let's see. The difference one to work. You're talking about this one, right? Sparky, is this is the difference, right? Yeah, so before I duplicate that, let's see, I'm actually going to duplicate. So one way of doing it, let me just show you guys, is I can grab another primitive like this cylinder, and if I hold down Alt and drag, see how it turns white and it's inversed? I guess we're doing it symmetrically. Let's change this back to skin shade 4 so we can see it. Okay, see how it's white and inverted? Now if I run Dynamesh on this, it's gonna reverse out these cylinders. Let me just show you. Where's the Dynamesh? Geometry, Dynamesh, okay. There we go. Let's turn it up. Turn up the resolution. So that is that's not the one you're talking about, Sparky, but I was going to show you how to do the other way. So I'm going to mask off these. You know what? I'm going to kill this. I just want to duplicate. These are the eyeballs. Let's see. And then I want to draw more, well, make more cylinders, maybe some cubes. Let's make some cubes. And then I want to split hidden, or sorry, I want to split unmasked points so they're in their own group. Now what I can do is I'm going to click this one, the one Sparky was talking about, difference. Then if I merge these, if I merge this one down on top of this one, so let's go merge down. It should turn these white, which it did, okay? Now if I Dynamesh, yeah, it didn't do it. I wonder what's going on with it. Because didn't we tried to do that last time, right? But ZBrush Core does not have live booleans. But ZBrush 4R8, it's so much fun to play with live booleans. If you haven't done it yet, you should. It's a game changer. It is an absolute game changer. And this difference that Sparky's talking about right here, it works all day long. It's great. So, yeah, the subtools involved, visible when you make a Boolean mesh. It's so awesome. I love it so much. I've got to play with it more. That's all there is to it. I can't wait. You know, because I'm an organic modeler, but seeing live Boolean is like, man, I'm gonna do some hard surface stuff. I don't care. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make some guns and some swords, all sorts of awesome stuff. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to ask Joseph what's going on with that. But anyway, okay, we're gonna take this. I don't really have any concept for this. I'm just gonna kind of shoot from the hip and just have some fun with this and see if we can get some kind of a decent looking thing. So basically what I'm showing you here is, you know, hey, I just got ZBrushCore. I want to screw around and try to make an appealing head. What do I do? So it comes with this anime head and you can just kind of start going to town. What I usually do is, like I said, I draw the eyeballs and then I put them in their own subtool. And now I go back to the head and I like to pinch the brow line just to kind of give me, an indicator of where that lives, right? And you can change the entire personality from how high or how low you do that brow line. That's kind of why I start it so soon. So you saw me do it pretty high in the first place, or you can even, like, you know, just with the brow line. It is kind of an expression when you start getting into things like that, but I'm just kind of following this peak along here. And then it just kind of dissipates out into this area, into this region. And then it just kind of goes down the nose. Just got to be careful when you get down to the tip that you don't push it in too much. Oh, Anthony, are you talking about you're asking non-core questions? That's totally fine. Because every other stream besides this one, I'm talking about ZBrush 4R7, 4R8, you know. So if you come back next Sunday or whatever, we'll be talking about that stuff. But it's okay. It's still ZBrush, you know. We're all Pixelogic here, so we're talking about ZBrush, and we're talking about ZBrushCore, and we're talking about Sculptress. They're all products of Pixelogic, so I do not mind at all. Actually, I kind of wish I was playing with ZBrush 4R8 right now because it's so new and so awesome. I really love it. Okay, I'm using the pinch brush right now, and I kind of want some more resolution in this, so I'm going to go to geometry and crank up this Dynamesh and just kind of drag it and get some more geometry. So, did you show them how to dupe an object with a gizmo? I did. Did you want to see that again? Xenofighter. Oh. Let's see. Blands, it's great. Intro to ZBrush. Bristol Bane, sorry. No worries, man. It's all good. Okay, cool. And let me know if you want me to show you anything again. It's totally cool. Okay. I need some, like, eye drops or something. Okay, I'm going to kind of detail out these lips a little bit. This is way too strong. Turn that Z intensity down. Somebody was telling me the other day that my brushes work in Core. I have yet to try that. So I don't know. Has anybody here tried my brushes inside Core? Let's see. Man, sometimes I love the snap. Okay, I really love the lazy mouse snap. Other times, not so much. Just gonna say. If I'm trying to do some kind of a smooth arc, it doesn't always work. You can't import brushes into Core. Okay, that's what I thought. So, yeah, somebody was saying, yeah, I put your brushes in there. Like, you did? Okay. Okay. I'm trying to figure out why this... Okay, there we go. This pinch brush works way different than the one I'm used to. So I'm trying to get it to work for me. and I'm fighting it a little bit. Oh, you did? Okay, you did up. So if you want them, they are on my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. And I'm going to be updating them very, very shortly to work. They do work with 4R8 right now, but some of the colors of my user interface causes some weird things in the menus. And I'm also updating some of the new stuff to be out on the menu, like live Boolean, for example. And there's this brush called, gosh, what is it called? Carve, or it starts with a C. Anyway, you use morph targets with it, and it is such a beautiful thing. So I want to put the morph button up in my custom user menu, things like that. I just really want to make sure that everything is at your fingertips when you're using all the new features of ZBrush 4R8. So that's coming soon. Chisel, thank you. Chisel is so cool. It's changed. It's changed. So if you guys were here for my last week's stream, I was just having problems starting and stopping a line, right? You remember that? And then all of a sudden Chisel comes along. I'm like, there it is. there's the thing. Ashley is in his house. How's it going? A cubed. Welcome, welcome. Ashley, what are you up to tonight? I'm just messing around with Core. Oh, thanks, Anthony's. Or, yeah, who? Oh, Sparky Face. Thanks. My Gumroad ones are old. Just so you know, my latest brushes are on my 3dcharacterworkshop.com website. So, yeah, it's not going too bad. We're doing some ZBrushCore stuff. I'm just messing with an anime face, trying to get something that looks halfway decent. I don't know. We're just kind of messing around. I made a hand earlier just to kind of test stuff out. And we're just trying to find some appeal in this anime head. I want to try and make some hair for fun. And yep, anime. I don't know. Why not, right? All right. And we're going to try some poly paint just for fun. Red. So, A Cubed, I heard that your last stream was covering 4R8 pretty good, right? I need to go watch that because I need to play with 4R8 more. And also, if you guys know Michael Palfovich, he did a phenomenal review of 4R8. You can find all the videos on YouTube. That's one I've been going through a lot. And it is so good. So good, so good. Okay, I'm just going to fill this. This is kind of yellow. Let's go more warm. Yeah, they're so good. One thing some people don't know is you can import OBJ from any 3D apps to Blender or Maya and use them as a subtool. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh yeah, the VDMs. Those, I need to get into those. So Leslie Vandenbroek, he's been trying a very unique work process where he will take like this eye socket, the whole eye, the eyelids and everything, and make a whole bunch of eyes with sockets and eyelids and everything, and then just there it kind of works like stop motion animation with replacements. Like he will replace the entire mouth with different kinds of mouths with that VDM stuff. Yeah, it's super, super cool. But anyway, some stuff I want to kind of get into. Let's see. Hey, Shane, you can tell, guess how many points verts usually in the finished Disney models? They were all over the board. Anywhere from about, so this is the game models, not the ZBrush models, the game models. They were anywhere from like 3,000 to 12,000 polys, something like that. Yeah, we had to keep them kind of low because there were so many characters on the screen, but that's kind of where they were at. I'm going to fill this eyeball with some white. but not too white. Just white enough. Let's see. Oh, hey, Lamentios. Thank you very, very much. So this is not 4R8 tonight. I'm showing Core tonight. So I'll be back on 4R8 next week, and I'll be talking about that. And I will be updating my user interface and brushes very, very shortly. So you'll hopefully see that from me soon. Let's see. I'm tempted to mask stuff face on a low poly model, but no matter what I try, it almost masks an extra row of faces. Yes, it does, but it doesn't. It will look like it's masking off a row of faces, but it's not. So, you know what? Let me show you really fast. That's a good question. It works. Masking works based on the vertices, okay? So this is going to look funny, but I'm going to draw some squares out here because I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's kind of put this cube up like this. Okay. So if I mask this first row, or this second, okay, let's see. So sometimes when you get, these are far apart, but see how it has that blend in between the 2 points? Sometimes these points get so close together. Here, let me do something here. That it looks like it's masking it, but it's not. Let's see. I'm trying to think of an instance where you can actually see it. But it's basically when you get the points really close together, they start looking like they're masked, but they're actually not. So let's see. Season 2 of ZBrush Live. For sure. Okay. ZBrush map, yes. Let's see, so much lag. Are we getting lag tonight? Yeah, let me know if we're getting lag. So I did, yeah, box horns. Oh man. I'm just trying to show this one. I can't get it to work. I think these are too far apart. Let's see. But I know exactly what you're talking about, and it happens all the time. I can't think of how to demonstrate that to you, but sorry. But just know that they are actually masked or unmasked. It looks like it, but it's not. So I'm going to duplicate this. Oh, 20 tabs open. Okay, good. So I got this new machine. It's brand spanking new, and it's a monster. I bought it so I could stream better because I was getting these CPU hits when I was streaming on my female model, and I wanted to get it so it wouldn't hit the CPU so hard. So I picked up this new machine, but it's having a few issues. Like it has some kind of weird compatibility issues. I can't even install any software to it. So I need to get that fixed this week. It's kind of hard when you get a new machine and you're like, it doesn't work. It's not working. So I just got it built locally here. I didn't build it myself, thank goodness. It wasn't me. Why it's not working. Okay, what are we doing here? Let's do some more poly paint. If you hold down spacebar, you get this whole menu. I don't know if all you guys knew that or not. You can play with the focal shift right here. And you can make it kind of act like an airbrush or act like more like a solid brush. And I like this little colored thing down here, but it's too small. So if you click on this square, it'll bring up this big palette. Then it gives you better selection. So what I usually like to do is I drop a color off of what I have going, like by hitting C. then you click on that color, and then you can change it to like a red, more of a red, and bring it a little more saturated. And then turn your RGB intensity down to like a 2. It'll still affect it quite a bit. And we'll turn the lazy mouse off. And then you can just kind of warm it up in these areas here, and through the ear. And I'm just kind of showing you some paint stuff that you can do in Core. It's the same as in ZBrush. It's really nice. And then for the chin, even though it's a female, I guess it could be a male, but usually in the chin area, it's a little bluer. So you can come back here, select this color again, and put it into the blue area, a bluish purple. And you have to be super delicate with this because a tiny, tiny, tiny bit goes a long way. So you just barely put it in there. And then you can even come back in with the skin color and go back over it on top and push it back down into the skin a little bit. And that'll kind of give you I guess a little more realistic skin tone-ish. Especially on males, not so much on females. Yes, not really to put the focus, but more of a, you know, it's like in males, it's that 5 o'clock shadow, that stubble, that, you know, it's not really to draw more attention. And the red is kind of where blood vessels and things are in the fleshy parts, like in the cheek and the nose and the ears. That's where there's like more blood exists, you know, and up in the skull, the skin is very close to the bone, so it's more yellowish up in here. So that's kind of your 3 bands of color, is yellow and then red and then blue, kind of, but not like full on blue, you know. So let's see, catch up on your comments here. Problem that you were masking to try to polygroup them, but that row is going into the wrong polygroup. Yeah, you need to look at faces rather than edges. So you're going to be putting, let me do it one more time. I'm just going to separate this out. Split, split, split. Unmask points. Okay, here we have some cubes. And hide the eyeball. Okay, so we have these cubes. And if you want to put the top row or the top couple rows into a poly group, what you want to do is select it like this, and then hit Control W to put it into its own poly group. Or with this select lasso on, let's see if you can do it. Yep. So if you hold down Control plus Shift, you can tap on an edge and it will hide the entire poly loop. And then you can invert that and hit Control W to put it in its own poly group, like so. And you should be looking at the faces and not the edges, if that makes sense. So if you want like one row of edges to be in one poly group and not the other, it doesn't really work that way. It works more on faces, like the color. I'm trying to answer your question the best I can. I'm not quite sure if this is helping or not. But you can also, like you're trying to mask, right? So I think you're adding via mask. So let's try and do that. Let's see. So if I mask this bottom portion and I hit Control W, it's going to put this bottom portion into its own poly group, right? Because you were talking about when you do that, it makes it look like this row should catch this next row, right? I think that's what you're talking about. So if you mask this off, it's going to grab this one and put it in a poly group with this one. So like that. Even though the fade goes up to this one, it's not really masked, okay? It has to be 100% masked in order to capture it in that poly group, if that makes sense. So I hope that answers your question. Maybe. Let me know. Let's see. I've heard ZBrushCore is more for hobbyists, but does it have functions that are more intuitive than the ZR series of ZBrush? No. ZBrushCore is essentially just the core stuff. It's more for hobbyists. It's more for messing around. The main release of ZBrush is like the full pro, everything in it release. This just has enough in it to you know, sculpt some fun things like this, and you can't really use it for like a full-on pro production, like a professional production, but you can definitely use it for like say you wanted to just make some fun little things to print out for, like I was saying earlier, some D&D figures, or you know, just like say a fidget spinner. If you want to make a fidget spinner, I guess you could make one in here. Turn off lazy mouse and kind of work this ear out a little more. This is just the Damien standard brush, and this is basically a detailer brush. Allows you to come and detail this stuff out a little bit more. Fidget spinner. I totally, did you see Matt Thorpe made his kids some fidget spinners. They're so cool looking. Print them out on his, he's got a printer that prints like super cheap, you know, just a extrusion printer. That's way cool. I want to do that for my kids. Make them toys and stuff. They're with that 4R8 and that new live Boolean stuff, you could basically make like a working squirt gun or something, you know, just a full-on toy, like, or a little car or something. Transformer, like a working transformer. You could work it out. It'd be so cool. I want to try that bad. Yeah, they were so cool. Okay, sorry, Quintessential. I tried, man. Hopefully you'll get it. You know, there's some things about ZBrush that are quite quirky, but you just keep messing with them and eventually you'll get it, or you'll figure out something else that will work in its place. That happens more often than not. Okay, so I don't even know. I'm more gabbing tonight than anything. Does Core have any of the retopple stuff at all? I do not believe so. It does not. So if we look at this stuff, basically we have these modeling kits, we have surface noise, we have some stitches, rake, pinch. This is essentially what you get with Core. Some sculpting brushes, and there are, you know, you can split, you can merge, you can extract. Extract is pretty cool. I was just going to do that right now by making some eyebrows. So instead of using in ZBrush 4R8, I would usually grab the topology brush and draw some topology to make my eyebrow and then add thickness to it that way. But you can definitely use extract in here. And how you do that is you can draw your eyebrows on with your eyebrow liner. You can come in here. You don't have to be too precise because you can mess with it later. Oop. Then this is probably going to be too sharp and do weird things. It's kind of hard when you get too sharp because it'll make this area collapse in on itself. But let's try. This is just a preview too. If you hit extract, this is just a preview of what it's going to look like. See, as soon as you rotate it, it goes away. But hey, you crack me up. Yep, your eyeliner. Do some eyeshadow in here. Oh man. Ashley, are you going to go to the ZBrush Summit this year? Did I ask you that before? There's no geometry tab. Yes, there is a geometry tab. Like, you're talking about this right here, geometry. Right? This geometry tab. So these are the things available in geometry, but there's no like, there's no Z modeler, there's no topology brush, that kind of stuff. Hood eyebrows. You have like, okay. So I'm getting distracted here. Let's go back. Let's go back. All right. Subtool, extract. Here we go. Oh man. You think you can go? Oh man, you've got to go. It'd be so awesome to see you in person. Okay. You should do like compete or something, or do some. They've got to send you. You got to bug Jaime to send you. Okay, so extract. You can mess with the thickness, and you can make it double-sided, or you can do this extract smooth surface, the smoothness. You can crank this up and do it again, and it'll try and smooth out the edges here. See that? Those look like nails for a railroad, like railroad spikes. It's not good. Let's clean these up a little bit better. At least turn them to the side. Oh, you bug a lot already. Yeah, they should send you. Oh, it's so fun. It's the best. Well, I mean, I'm a little biased because I obviously love ZBrush a ton. I got this shirt last year. Can you guys see this shirt? It's just all the awesome ZBrushers, and they bring in industry professionals to do demos, and they're so good, and it's free to go watch these guys do their demos live, and you can ask them questions. I mean, a couple of years ago they invited myself and Matt Thorpe to do it, but it's just really cool to see the people they invite over. Like last year they had the guys from Face Off, that makeup, or you know, the show where they make crazy masks and all sorts of stuff. They brought those guys over. They had Blizzard come over and talk, and just all sorts of, the guy making jewelry. That was really interesting. And how, because I'm not into jewelry, but watching him talk and how he uses ZBrush to actually do it is really, really interesting. It's super cool. Yeah, and if you can't make it, they always put it up on YouTube so you can watch it later. So anyway, let's pretend I like these eyebrows. Then when you're done, you just hit accept, and it will make a brand new subtool out of them. You can see that right here. And even though they kind of look weird right now, you can come in here and fix them up. You can fix them up by just hitting smooth and just kind of working them around a little bit. I mean, they're not a super clean, crisp edge like you would get with topology, but you know, they do the trick. You can also come back. Let me back up a little bit before I did that. We're going to take a closer look at these. You can hit solo and see what it did. Man, sorry, I have an itchy nose again tonight. I don't know what it is with these streams. My nose itching. Okay, so you can see that it actually added a poly group to this edge, and under deformation you have this polish, and you can crank this polish and it will kind of work on these edges. Let's see, let's try this one. And there's two different algorithms. So see this little dot right here? If you just crank it once, you can see it, you know, kind of doing its thing. And I'll undo it a couple times, and you can hit this little dot right here and it'll polish it a little differently. So you can try those two different things. Yeah, I was allergic to streaming. Is there a nicest guy in ZBrush community than me? Let me see. I'm going to tell you my favorite nicest guys. Let's see. I think everybody that I've ever met at ZBrush Summit has been extremely nice. I met so many people last year. So many people. Brian, he makes these awesome little toys. And Joe, oh man, I'm trying to remember everybody's names. There's so many. It's like a family reunion there, you know. And I'm a hugger too. So if I see you and I know you, I'll give you a hug. It's so fun. Am I a part of 10,000 Hours? I am. I'm good friends with Justin Gopi Fields, the guy who runs that. I don't post on there very much. I want to, but I have not. I need to post on there more. Okay, I'm gonna Dynamesh some more. Oh, that's not good. Let's crank it. Okay, that's better. I'm just trying to clean these up. And you can also come along here with the Damien Standard and try and put kind of a line across the top. There we go. You guys are making me blush, by the way. Thank you very much. Brian Beatty. He makes those awesome toys. I met him last year. Let me see if there's. Okay, there is. See how what I was doing on the front is actually affecting the back? There's this this thing called backface masking. If you go under brush, you see this backface mask and turn that on, and now what you do to one side will not affect the other. Ashley, weren't you saying you have that turned on all your brushes by default? Let's see, there must be a forced perspective on your webcam. Your pen looks the size of a cucumber, then it's like I have it hanging on the top of my Cintiq, so that's why it's huge. It's like sorry about that. When I get my new setup, maybe I'll get a tripod and kind of stick my camera back and focus in a little more. That's funny. Oh man. You have it on Claybuildup, okay. It looks like a log. Oh man. So, you think so since... Oh, are you in LA? Because that's the ZBrush Summit. The ZBrush Summit is at Noman every year. Because that's where ZBrush headquarters is in America. It's right at Noman School. They have an office there. The size of a cucumber. It's cracking me up. Cracking me up. I'm gonna put a smiley face or something on there. So when he gets in the camera, he's like, yeah. Another really, really good show is CTN. I love CTN. I've presented at CTN once in a while, a couple times. That's pretty fun. I'm just using the polish brush to polish these edges down. It's working pretty good. H polish. Oh, tell it. Put a spaghetti nibbly into the camera. Oh man. So my life, you guys want to hear my life story? My industry story? It's not super interesting. Let's see, what time do we have? 11:30? Hey Expecto, welcome. You'd end up on the streets. The ZBrush Summit doesn't cost anything. It's free. So it's free. Like the only thing that costs in the ZBrush Summit are the workshops. But just to go and watch, it's free. Yeah, it will break 0 banks. Just come. Come and say hello. I'll be there. I'll be the guy wearing this hat. Or something like it. Okay, let's see. It's a little better. Let's get him a different color. Like a brown or something. Darker. There we go. You want my hat? This is my hat. I think I have like 5 of these. Do I know? I do not. Hey, Ahmad. Welcome. Quintessential bread. Danny Williams is one of my favorites. I love Danny Williams. I love Michael DeFeo and Paul Gabry, and I'm meeting so many of the new Pixelogic guys like Kyle and Kingsley. Yeah, there's so many great people. So many great people. Michael Palfovich. I have not met Michael in person though. And Danny lives in New York now, so it's kind of hard for him to make it out. It's quite the trek now. But the first year I went to, was it CTN? I think CTN. Yeah, Danny Williams gave me a tour of DreamWorks. And that's something I will never forget. It was so cool. So cool. I'm going to change these ears just a little bit, the shape. There we go. Okay. Hey Pixley, how's it going? Oh, you have my oh, thank you. That's awesome. Welcome to the stream. That's super cool. I love hearing that stuff. I do an official hat. I would probably do a hat that I haven't worn. I'll have to get one. You know, I think I'm gonna make some 3D character workshop hats. Maybe I'll do an embroidered little 3D character workshop on the back, like of a black one of these or something. That'd be kind of cool. That's a good idea. Give it away. Bring some to the summit. Give them away. Okay, I'm gonna do some eyelids. Some people like to, like Danny Mack, he and my friend Steve James, they really like to kind of put a slab of clay to create, you know, clay. I'm using quotes to do the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid. And personally, I just like to build it up from behind the eye with a Claybuildup brush or a fill brush or something like that. Yeah, it's staring into your soul. This little kid. So let me get these eyelids in here. Make him mad first, and then just work it out. Because I feel like if I build it up this way, it doesn't go crazy right away. You know what I mean? It's not like boom eyelids. I can do a slow build up, and I can see where it's going, and it just feels a little more natural to me is all. Then I'll Dynamesh every once in a while. I'm gonna put polish on my Dynamesh. There we go. Okay. Oh, thanks, Pixelay. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, eyelids, eyelids. Has to have my sweat on it. Thanks, M. Havron. Thank you very much. I'm sorry if I pronounce your names wrong. These nicknames, crazy. How to create a new tool like a belt buckle and save it for the future to use? I can show you in ZBrush 4R8, but you can't really do something like that inside ZBrushCore that I know of. This is ZBrushCore that I'm working on tonight, not the full version. So this is the core version, as it were. And I'm going to try this pinch brush again. I haven't had luck with it too much tonight. It's working a little better. It's hard when I work with my you know, when I work with my brushes so much, and then going to something that's a little more standard, it's hard to get used to a little bit. Okay. Do I have to save often? I should, but I don't. Can't you just save and load a tool as a subtool? You could, you know, but you can't save tools in here. You can export OBJs and import OBJs, but you can't export tools, which that's just one of the limitations of ZBrushCore. You can save projects. So not really. You can save an OBJ. So if you made something like this head to use later, you can export it as an OBJ right here, export. And that will, then that's something that you could bring back in, like if you wanted to make a buckle or something and bring it back in, that would work. Let's see. Yeah, always save often and everything is the best advice anybody could ever give. So this is a project, so I can just hit Control S and save it. And you can't see me save it in XSplit because that XSplit only shows the program I'm using and not anything else. Steve James. Steve James is in the house. You can also use copy and paste combine tools with Core. So, Steve, you got to tell me what you're talking about. Copy and paste? Steve was just telling me about this earlier today, and it also works in ZBrush 4R8. And he has set it to a hotkey. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. You meant OBJ auto, so that auto corrected you. Oh, that's awesome. ZBrushCore has the Go Z button. I don't think so. So load a file, copy the subtool, load the new file, and then paste the old tool into the new file? Really? Are you serious? That's a thing? That's a thing. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that later. Because I'm in the middle of this one right now, but that is interesting. How's it going, the Grubber? Welcome. Is that gonna be... I don't know what you said, Hired Gun. It is a workaround with Core. Ah, okay. So you can literally click on a tool and hit Control Copy. And then what? Or how do you copy? Like, oh, this copy tool. Ah, copy tool. So this is what you were talking about. You could set this to oh, from Dragon Ball Z. Ah, Hired Gun. I know what you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't catch the acronym the first time you laid it down. Krillin. I totally could, right? It's got the head for it. The Last Airbender. Oh. Man. I could make Aang. Put an arrow on his head. So below the subtool layer list. Subtool layer list. What are you talking about, Steve? I see it not. Are you talking about up top? Oh, in the subtool menu. What am I looking for? My future head in 10 years. That's my head right now. I just have to paint some hair on the side and it's me. I am hairless. I have no hair. Just above duplicate. Oh, this right here. I was looking at, so is this different? This is copy tool, paste tool. So this is copy subtool and paste. Ah, and you can paste that into a different project once you've copied it, right? I see. Okay, got you, got you. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Steve James, ladies and gentlemen. He's awesome. So if you see, Steve's doing some training for Wacom right now, and he does a lot of training for Pixelogic. You'll see some of it up on the ZBrush Central homepage underneath the top row. A lot of those are Steve's trainings. And I've known Steve for a long time. Somebody was asking me if I could tell, if I could give my life story, like how I got into the industry. I've worked with Steve James for years and years and years. So he's been around in the industry with me for a long time. Let's see. I'm just going to divide this eyeball up so I can paint on it since he's looking so freaky. And I'm going to change the focal length, focal shift. Let's give him a, there you go, look at that. You know what's fun is messing with eye placement. Eye placement changes the look of your character so much. You look derpy, cross-eyed, and the size of it, you know, like One Punch Man. What's One Punch? Isn't his just like a little dot? It just changes their personality and their look so much, you know? So, you know, when you're putting your eyeballs in, your irises in, keep playing with it. Don't just go, okay, that looks good, and leave it, you know? Go back and forth until you find something you like. Let's see. There we go. He looks sad. This guy looks sad. Let's make him not look sad. I'm gonna move his eyebrow down. Let's see. Let me catch up. The clipboard page file of ZBrush uses persists between projects until it is rewritten. That's so cool. But my first Wacom Intuos, gotta say, way better than a wireless mouse from in the clearance section. Yeah, you think? I'm glad you stepped up. Makes people so creepy and clearly sad in my current character. Give a few tips on what makes a character appealing. Yes, I can. That's the hard paintbrush, right? So in Core, there's only one paintbrush. It's this one right here. And you can go back and forth between hard and soft just by changing the focal shift. See this focal shift right here? And you can kind of see it behind, it's hard to see behind the menu, but it's that the second red line inside the big circle. So that's your focal shift. And if you push it all the way down to around -100, it'll be very sharp when you paint. And if you crank it the opposite direction, it'll be very soft. So it's kind of like a fall off of a light bulb. It makes a fall off like that. So translucent material in R5 subtool folder system. So they're working on a folder system. They were trying. I am so glad they put in where you can move multiple subtools at the same time in 4R8. That's pretty much what I wanted the folder system for in the first place. So even to get that much makes me super duper happy. But yes, a folder system would be awesome, but they would essentially have to rewrite ZBrush from the ground up to make that work. And I would guess that they would work pretty hard to try and get it into 5. So, you know, hopefully that's where it will be. Yes, Anthony, that's like the #1 request from all of their users. So I know they're working on something. I just don't know what and when, and yeah, it's super cool. So, and as far as transparent material, that's another thing. I don't know, just because of the way ZBrush works and its architecture, if it will ever work that way. There are transparent materials, but you can only see the transparency when you render them out with the BPR rendering. So you can have a transparent material, but it just won't be what you expect it to be. Like, you can't see it being transparent as you're working. It'll only be that way after you render. So maybe one day they'll get to that. Okay, I've been working on these eyebrows forever. I keep yapping. So somebody asked about the appeal. So two things go towards making the character appealing. And number one is eye shape. You really have to get the eye shape correct to make it appealing. And there's several things you can do to kind of make an appealing eye shape. And that is, you can make kind of a pinch in, you know, where your tear ducts are in your eyes. You can kind of pinch that down in here, and that will help. And also having the back of the eye a little higher, you know, not like cranked, but a little higher than that tear duct. That will help. And then you can, there's some eye shapes are, they go almost straight up here and then kick back. So just instead of just drawing like a nice arc from the one tear duct to the back of the eye, just a nice arc, it's sometimes nicer to kick it up high right here and then go back. That's one thing that helps the appeal. And then losing the lower eyelid will help the appeal. Sometimes you can, especially in a stylized character. Okay, so if I were to like watch the appeal kind of go away, as it were. Hang on a second. Let me cut this in a little more. And the eyelid, if you make it visible, that helps the appeal. And then, but if you add a lower eyelid, sometimes it's okay. But see that? All of a sudden he looks like gangly and not very attractive. So I suggest avoiding a lower eyelid unless you're doing a realistic character. Okay, I just tend to, sometimes I'll put a ledge that will be the lower eyelids, like the thickness of it. I will put it right along this eye right here. And that's different because that's not actually making, you know, the eyelid. That's making the thickness of it. And I'll do that to the upper eyelid as well. I'll make it have a little thickness. This is too thick. This is like super beef jerky eyelid. But just because of the way I created it. But I would actually make the lower eyelid and the upper eyelid kind of have the same thickness. See, this way he still looks appealing, but he doesn't have that, you know, that gangly pressed in lower eyelid that makes him look old and not appealing anymore. So that's one thing. And another thing is to frame his face with his hair or her hair. That will add a ton of appeal. And getting the nose and the mouth proportions correct and making sure that it looks proper from the top down, making sure you have a nice curve like this, making sure you have a nice curve like this, and across the chin. So a lot of new modelers will look at the front of the face like this and the side and match the profile in the front of the face to the concept. Like they'll ask a concept artist to give them a turnaround and they'll draw the front and the side and try to match it exactly and then wonder why it doesn't look good from the 3/4. So in my opinion, the 3/4 view is more important than the front and the side, and it will go much farther towards getting a likeness of your character than the front or the side will. So, and I'm talking about this right here. So looking at this, how the cheek comes out and goes down to the chin. A lot of beginner modelers get that wrong. They'll either make the chin too high or the cheeks too high, or, you know, they'll cut it in and make it gaunt too much. You just need to have a nice smooth curve and have it come in towards the eyeball. And a lot of new modelers won't pull this part of the eye back in space enough. Like back, I mean, that's horrible, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like they won't pull it back enough around the head, because you need to properly make a head, you need to be able to see that eyeball from that direction right here, this reverse 3/4 direction. You need to see the eyeball peeking out right here, and then the nice cheek going down to the chin. That helps a lot as far as appeal. So yeah, the facial expression always, you know, but I'm just talking about in a generic, you know, neutral pose. The most appeal you can get without actually pushing it into an expression. The expression will help a ton. So, okay, let's see. I'm missing a whole bunch of, speaking of eyes, can we get, okay, folder system. Who's this? This isn't a character concept. This is just something I'm messing with because ZBrushCore comes with an anime head block, and I'm just kind of noodling around with it a little bit. After modeling in ZModeler, how to convert it in polymesh for sculpting purposes. You can either add some subdivision levels by hitting Control-D, or adding Dynamesh just by adding Dynamesh, this Dynamesh button right here. So both of those will allow you to have enough geometry to sculpt on top of after that, if that makes sense. And make sure you utilize creasing to keep your edges. So use creasing, and then subdivide up to about, when you're ready, about 1.5 million. Don't really go over that per subtool, because that's pretty much where you want to be able to sculpt on it and to paint on it. You don't want to go up to 3 and 5, and it'll just make your files huge. And if you have a character that has a head and a body and you're not getting enough resolution and the head and the body are together in the same subtool, I always recommend finding a place where you can split them apart and put the head in a subtool and the body in a different subtool, because that way you'll get more resolution out of each of those subtools, if that makes sense. Let's see. If I remove my lower eyelids while I don't know, man. Try it. I wish I could. I got these crazy lower. Let's see. Can you talk about the corners of the mouth and stylized characters and how they stay on the smooth curve? Yes, that's another thing. 1 second, I'll get to that. They go in the face, follow the teeth and muscles, and not so much on stylized. Right. Just cleared the hurdle. Who am I modeling though? I'm not really modeling anybody. Sorry. So I'm just, you know, just some anime face. Generic anime boy. Okay, so mouth. To keep appealing on a super stylized character, try and keep the area between the nose and the lips as flat as possible. So you don't want those little, I don't even know what they're called, the two little things, you know, with the little trough and all that, and the you save that for realistic characters, okay? But for stylized characters, you'll want to keep this flat, and you can keep it flat with the H polish brush. And you do not want to add smile lines either. You know, people that have had art lessons forever, and you know, they're like, okay, draw this stuff in there, draw the smile lines in there. That's another thing. You will instantly age your character if you do this. See that? All of a sudden it's an old man. And it's because you added, you know, and then you add those lower eyelids, and then all of a sudden you're looking like me, some old guy. Don't do that. Keep those out. Yeah, thank you. The filtrum. Oh man, I'm horrible. Okay, so and then also the darkest part of a mouth is in the corner, because that's where all the skin and everything is gathered the most, and it creates the most shadow. So I don't have it on his mouth yet, but once you've defined and decided where the corners of his mouth are going to be, make them the deepest. And this is before you actually, you know, cut in the interior of your mouth and stuff like that. This is when you're just kind of drafting him out and building him out and getting him ready. But he'll have the darkest corners, and then it just kind of comes out from there. And that will also add appeal. See that? It'll look, all of a sudden it'll look a little more realistic. So that's another thing to do. And then you can, if you are going to build anything up around the mouth, just use the clay buildup on a very, very light setting. sorry if I'm getting my cucumber pen in the camera again, but just kind of build this up a little bit and then scoop this out. So the reverse. So holding down Alt, I learned this from Michael DeFeo, and he'll actually take a sphere and like just, you know, take it out of there, subtract it out of there, which is awesome. But I'll sometimes take this and it'll look weird for a minute and then you just smooth it back down. And then that will create some realism without, because it'll create those two little, see how the light is catching in the corner and then going out like this? That will also help with realism. You know, you don't want to have your character too realistic, but just little hints of realism here and there. You know, like the eyelids coming up and, you know, doing their little thing. But that's just another way of just adding appeal. And then with the hair, you just want to make sure that, you know, it lands where it needs to be. I'm just going to draw it in with the Damien. Well, let's paint it in. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Oh, thanks. All right. Compared to like 3-day seminars. Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, I don't really like to say how much, but let's see. If you're, I don't know if you're talking about my course or somebody else's, but I wish you could take my course for stylized characters that realistic ones don't have. There are quite a few, and basically it just boils down to simplify and exaggerate. So simplify meaning getting rid of things like the smile lines and, you know, the eyelids and things like that, and just simplify and smooth it out and just make it as appealing as possible that way. You know, but as far as the hairline goes, I'm just going to kind of paint it in. Let me crank the intensity up. You want to have enough forehead, enough of a difference here that it actually looks like it's realistic. And then it'll come up into, sorry, then it'll come up into here. This is for like an older person. A hairline kind of either it peaks right here or it goes up or whatever. And then it comes down. You got to make sure that you get that the sideburn started right here, at least started. If it goes down to a lot of new modelers will just stop it up here and then go back, and that'll look bad. You need to go actually all the way down and start it, even though it's not an older guy, and then create some kind of a interesting shape for the hair right here, and then it goes down like this. And then you have to make sure that you get it in the back of the ear enough. This is a big mistake. A lot of people will leave it off, but you need not way up in there, but at least, you know, enough that it looks correct. And then go down to where it starts to fade off down here. And I'm just painting this, but this is what I do when I usually start to lay in hair, is I will go around the edges first and build those edges up. Then I will come in and do all of the strands on top of that, covering up those, you know, those edges as I go around. This looks like, what's that girl on on Stranger Things? What's her name? Oh man. All right. Yeah, that looks like Sid. All those. Let's see. I'm missing a bunch of these. How do you make an appealing villain? That's a bigger question. Let's see. All right. Anyway, I was going to go 2 hours tonight, so I was going to wrap it up here. But let me, if you have any really fast questions, Yep, Astro Boy. There's a whole bunch of people this could be. He's so generic. It's like just fit him into whatever, you know. Remove his hair and put Aang's arrow on him, and anyway, pretty fun. But this is a super easy thing that you can do with ZBrushCore and just messing around and just kind of, you know, making them work. And then you can grab these eyebrows and start putting them in different expressions and things. Make him angry. Make him evil. There you go. There's a villain. Yeah, the vampire family. Oh. What's the max speed of a cheetah? Ash. Oh. I don't know. That's the answer. Oh, man. It's been a crazy night. You 3D printed your bad sprite. Oh. But thank you, everybody, for coming around tonight and watching me on Father's Day mess around with ZBrushCore. It's been awesome. Why is he still looking sad? I don't know, because his eyebrows are high. They're up. There you go. Now he's looking concerned. Concerned kid. All right. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ash. He's sad because he isn't with his dad. I do some retop in ZBrush, yes, and in 4R8. There aren't any retop tools inside of Core, so I do the retopping in 4R8 and other outside programs. I do the majority, like for an in-game mesh, I do those not in ZBrush, somewhere else, so pretty cool. Yay, an unladen swallow. That's a good one. I'm going to look that up. Thanks, ZCrap. That's a great name. Anyway, and hopefully next week, next Sunday, I will have put some time into the female character from Johannes, and I will have my new machine up and running, hopefully, and we will see you next Sunday, and we'll try and take that to pose. That would be my dream for now, so that'd be awesome. So if you want my ZBrush user interface and brushes, that's 3dcharacterworkshop.com. If you want to get a trial of ZBrush, you can download it here down below in this in the stream, and you can grab a demo down there. I can't remember how many days the demo is, but anyway, and then ZBrushCore that I'm using right now, I think it retails for $100. You can get a package deal with a Wacom tablet for $200. It comes with a super nice tablet for an extra $100. Awesome deal. So as you can see, you can do a lot with it, and you can 3D print out of here. It's super cool. So anyway, thank you everybody for stopping by. And hired gun, yes. I did get a Titan SLI. So I can't wait to make it work if it actually works. So anyway, have a good night, people. Happy Father's Day, and I will see you next Sunday. Have a good night.